Hello, everybody. Welcome back as we're ready to go here. Well, soon to be ready to go here with our second match of the evening. Joining me now, Austin, Visions, Neil. We've got ourselves Mississippi State, their Maroon squad, going up against the University of Tennessee, Knoxville Orange. Both teams that we've seen at pretty great length over the last couple of years here, Visions.
Yeah, we've had at least a little bit of experience here with these guys coming in and have been able to at least put themselves in the middle of the pack for the most part coming out of the last season here. So looking to try and have another hot start, something we've been talking about, getting off on that right foot and seeing if you're going to be able to have enough of an impact. We've had a great series coming up, that last one as well, coming through with a lot of close games, and just about every single series I would say so far coming in towards this alpha stream has actually been some close games, despite a lot of 3-0s in towards the mix. But we got our first 3-1 just coming out that last series here, Alan. Maybe that means we're on board for a potential 3-2. Maybe this is how it kind of evolves and builds here for us going in towards all these games.
I'm here for that. I love a natural progression to things in life, and that would be a good one here for us to get things going for our first game 5. Again, both of these teams, at the end of the last season, during season 2, had some major playoff considerations, at least near the end of the year. That Southeastern division was disgusting. I mean, it was so hard to find wins down there. So now that we're here in the Appalachian region still, again, these are two squads that are going to be duking it out for some major vying for positioning, especially early on. We talked about it largely yesterday. The format, but again, the first half of the season, you play up against one division, and then you get a mid-season kind of standings adjustments. The regions then open up. You play up against the top half, and then you have the bottom half. So again, a pivotal matchup here for both of these squads. You look at the division overall, and you think that, both of these teams very well could be in that top 5, top 6 that you're looking at to get into that top cut after that first half of the season.
Yeah, we definitely could. And if we take a look at least at the maps that we have there at the top of the screen here for you guys, Raid Hardpoint coming in first, Moscow Search and Destroy second. We got our double dose of Raid coming through here on Control, and then Checkmate Hardpoint and Moscow Search. So a nice little mix for as far as what we're going to get coming in towards everything here, Alan. And coming back to at least the veto process is something that I touched on a little bit yesterday. You want to, I feel like, if anything, especially early on in towards the season, I feel like you should be willing to try out some different maps in towards the mix, right? This is probably the time to do it, to see what you're comfortable with, instead of getting 3 or 4 or 5 games in towards the future and saying, okay, now let's see if we might be able to play Garrison. You want that kind of already available in your pool, building up towards some of those more intense games where you're going to be able to play that veto process and play almost a different type of mind game before even getting in towards the series that we have here coming in.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I was a big proponent at the end of the year when we were kind of setting up for playoffs that there were too many schools that were one-tricking certain maps across every single mode that we had. It wasn't just hardpoint, not even just search, but even in domination. That's a little bit more to be expected because for map 3, you only have 3 map choices. So essentially hard vetoing one and then being good at the other 2 is like a sound strategy. But when it comes to like search and hardpoint specifically, I'm 100% on the same train as you when it comes to the more flexible, the more versatile you are, likely the better off that you're going to be. Now, that said, if you're in a pivotal matchup like this one, you probably want to play your best overall maps. But let's be honest, you're going to find yourself in the early parts of the season, maybe playing up against schools that are brand new. Maybe they just put together a team last minute. Maybe they've been scrimming before and they say, okay, we should have a win here. That's where I think you need to play around a little bit and try to flex onto those other maps and get some actual competitive experience together with it.
That's a huge part of it. I mean, just getting yourself comfortable in towards the mix very early in towards the season, having the biggest map pool as possible. That's what we're going to be looking at, seeing exactly what they're going to bring for us as well. I mean, Raid, a map we are very familiar with going all the way back to Black Ops 2. So anyone who was playing back then should be very familiar with going in towards it and have a very strong idea on how it's going to play out for us. But it looks like we are getting ready to load in towards this very first initial game here for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. A really spicy one. 2 squads that have been within College Con for a very, very long time. It's all about who's going to be able to come out here and actually take the win, have that strong start, and see if they're going to be able to make some moves. So it should be a great time all around the board here for us, Alan.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that for this Tennessee roster, you're going to see the names, and some will be familiar, but they're missing a lot of the big key components that they had from last year. You've got Goose Fava making his Revise back, and also you actually have Revise in the mix with Slayin and Elstro on the other side from MSU Maroon, Grandma, Itachi, DT3, and JH. So, again, a lot of new names there for the Mississippi State Maroon squad. But as we get into this one, it will be a 2-for-2 exchange, eventually leading to Elstro, who's on now 4 in a row. He's just locking down the lane up top. He's not touching the hard point. He's just pinned up, and he's found himself essentially a full wipe on his own.
Yeah, he hit the middle of the map right off the bat and just won all those initial gunfights, makes that transition over, and the AR is just slowly but surely taking over. And look at the mini-map, already getting a bit of a flip for as far as the spawns heading in towards a rotation. Guzfaba remaining on this spree, finds himself on 3 in a row, almost 4. Will finally get shut down as the big jump shot does come in, but still need to fight for the last 15 seconds. And well, that is not going to be easy. Everyone making it very difficult to make any moves as we look at this rotation towards P2.
Yeah, really nice start here for the University of Tennessee. Alstro 7-2, Guzfava 4-1. Those are your AR players, at least as far as we can figure right now. But for Mississippi State Maroon, an opportunity to try to hit this from the front. JH not going to check his immediate left. Goose will punish. Slaying from behind picks up the pinch. And now for the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, they're in a really weird spot because you've got two players trying to hit the backside spawns, but that's not going to be enough to fully influence or really even block for that matter. And then the other players that come off respawn, where are you going to go? They're going to try to hit this and pinch together, but Goose on 3, looking for DT 3 for 4. Sure, why not? 7-1 start for him.
Guzfava, he is just having such a great time right now. Will he go for the challenge? Will actually wait for his teammate to come in, but Grandma inside of money manages to find 2. Guzfava checks the wrong corner. That means 3 will come through here for Grandma. The big sub player able to make some moves, get a little bit of that time, but UTK Orange, they are already thinking ahead, trying to make that move. Unfortunately, it was just the one player on the rotation that will be cut down. However, this is still a very nice lead heading in towards our third hill.
1v1 for 4 seconds of scrap time off screen, but again, the focus stays here in Gymnasium. JH playing Mortician over the top of this body right now. We'll have to come back, try to help out the hard point. Good for 1. Goose, long range. Nice shots from JH. He'll find 3 in a row, and with that, the Bulldogs will spawn in. One more contestant to the side. JH for 4. Good help from beyond, and all the volunteer push that comes out for UTK has been stuffed.
And this is where you really need to actually hold down some of this time. JH could look to maybe find a kill and then fan out in towards Art, get a little bit more map control. Instead, going to tuck away in just a corner. Challenge now on towards the ramp. We'll be able to grab 1, but everyone winning their one-on-one battles means that the last 25 seconds should end up going over towards UTK Orange. This is going to put them just at about 100 points, as all those red arrows here for the side of MSU will simply look to set up here in basketball.
But again, the rotation timing here for the Volunteers is actually incredible. Revised almost slides into money. Goose is there for the immediate trade, but really you're looking at him to either find a couple of heroic kills or just play his life. He will do neither. So the immediate threat off the timing, exiting from 3 to 4 for UTK will be stalled. And now it's going to be down to how do you want to hit? Apparently it's right into JH. He's good for 2. Almost gets the 3rd. But we will go 2 for 2 at the end of it. Alstro trying to play to block spawns in the back, but he's unsuccessful. And now the Bulldogs generating some significant time.
They lose some pressure up top, but they're looking to try and reinforce that coming down. Big gunfight. Grandma will shut down the push here for the very first player trying to entry in. And now it's going to be just a hold, trying to play his life as long as possible. Next one up, that's going to be Alstro. He finds himself the entry, will now be positioned inside of the point as he knows the spawns are still up top. Goes for the challenge into the second, almost the 3rd, but it will still be a trade. Everyone playing excellent teamwork here for UTK Orange when they're setting up these pushes, and because of that, they have that massive lead here of about 50 points.
Trying to chip away is Mississippi, and they've been pretty successful in the last couple of hills, contesting through 3 not bad, holding 4 pretty darn good. So now it just comes down to this initial battle for 5, and we talked largely about how important this top spiral position is. Tachi's good for 1. Grandma finding his trade. Revise is looking to chase down the red dot, and he will find the elimination. So for UTK, good start to this initial time here on P5. This should be at least 20 seconds, if not potentially more. And the big key, you're spawning Mississippi State all the way out. So they have to flood this from the front, and this is the problem. You get put essentially into a little bit of a blender, but the trades are actually pretty favorable. Alstro and Revise are trying to stay alive, and they get a little bit of help from JH, who unfortunately team kills. AC finds 1 more on the response, but 20 seconds, he's forced to make a challenge, and as he does, he falls.
Yeah, they're already losing this rotation. They just had to flood it, and they do finally get themselves positioned inside of the point. So Mississippi with a crucial 20 seconds. They might not actually all go over for free. We can see one last attempt to fight for the scrap time, and Slayin actually busts on through, finds himself a couple of kills. All while Guzfava is still positioned and set up, playing for that information. Alstro, though, he's got a couple lined up in front of him. Won't be able to bring home either one. So Guzfava forced to pick this up, and he's able to convert himself on towards the kill. Challenges up top, making it look easy. Guzfava snaps 1 to 2 to 3 and clears out the point.
That's unreal. Here's number 5, no problem. 20 and 6 for Goose. and a minute 30 more seconds worth of hill time. I mean, what can he do? Give him some balls to juggle or some arithmetic to do while he's doing this, because he's on 7. Oh, Elstro, you dirty devil, stealing away number 8. Goose will be tacked up a little bit, won't get the full region, has to play his life, but Mississippi State spawning out is in a really terrible position, and Goose's spree will eventually be put down.
But look how much damage it does. I mean, this is just so massive. The AR is struggling to really keep up here for as far as the pressure. And even this time is still being fought for. I mean, it looks like 10 seconds could end up going over. Elstro, though, finds himself the kill. Will just try and hold this position back Laundry to cut off the rotation that will be coming through. We take a look at the minimap, and player 8, JH, he is in the back jungle, but he will be sniffed out. Slang with an excellent kill to make sure spawns will not be blocked and won't be flipped just yet. But there is still one last attempt in towards the back. In Mississippi, they need to make this count, and they have to find a very quick break.
It just feels a little slow, doesn't it? I mean, maybe a little bit in pieces. They will get the spawns, but you've got everybody from UTK now focused on the back door. Nobody from the Mississippi State Maroon team is going to walk away with even a little bit of damage, it looks like. So now over 200 points. UTK having themselves a day right now. Goose still finding kills. Astro on 3 in a row, and there just is not any resilience against this AR duo from Mississippi State at the moment. They're even going to be on good time to try to hit this rotation. They force Mississippi State to spawn behind the old hill. So sure, they'll get out of the 100-point club, but we have not seen an instance where you feel like Mississippi State's going to be in a position to really lock this game up at any point.
The problem has been the breaks. I think more or less they've not only lost the rotation, but breaking in some of these hills has been so difficult because of the multi-kills that have been coming in. Elstro will be actually the only one really inside of the point right now. His teammates all in and around, and well, that kill does come through, but a little bit shaky. As control still here down the left for UTK Orange. Things looking a little bit scary for a moment, as there really is only maybe 1-2 good pushes left here for MSU Maroon. And that's going to be a big kill coming through right by the Lambo, followed up by a third. Everyone just about wiped off the map here. 15 seconds is all they need, and they'll find the last player who is looking to make a contest move. This is a crazy stomp coming in towards the very first game here, Alan. Incredible stuff for UTK Oranges. They clean this one up with ease.
I mean, the double ARs for UTK, I mean, it's not the exact number, but they nearly go 60 and 25 collectively.
That's just insane.
I mean, that just can't happen. You just cannot allow it to go. This is, again, the opening of this spree from Goose. Just snap into everything that moves. Unbelievable. And then Elstro steals his 8th kill away. What a jerk.
He looked good for it, too. He definitely looked good for it, but yeah, that's just, I mean, you usually do not have those games too often, and it felt like Gustavo was just on one, and sometimes you get locked in that zone where you just know and pretty much have the same x-ray vision, it feels like maybe that we have, where you're just reading the spawns correctly, you're set up, you're always positioned in a spot where you're going to be able to find multiple kills, and it's like he's always actually playing from a power position as well. You know, he's putting himself in an advantageous position to come out on these gunfights, and they're challenging from very difficult positions, and he's just making it look easy, but it's more or less just the positioning, how he's snapping, how he's playing, everything coming together, and it just felt like it was just almost too easy at times when we got towards that second set, and that's where I think everything started to really snowball out of control there for us. So a tough one here for Mississippi Maroon, but they can still look to bounce back, have to shake that one off. That was really, you can kind of chalk that one up, Alan, to, all right, Gustavo went off on us, you know, it's so good. We can look to regain, get ourselves ready and prepared going in towards Moscow, search and destroy.
And it's just one of those things that, as I've continued to watch over this UTK squad, I remember watching them try to get ready for playoffs last year. We were looking back at that Southeastern division, and they started like 1-5, but 4 of their 5 losses were like map 5s by like a round. Like, they were so close to putting away some of the big dogs in the Southeast. They weren't quite able to do that. So now that you're in a position here to get what looks to be maybe an opening win and a lot of confidence, because let's be honest, why would you not feel confident enough of what we just saw? If you could take this map away, go up 2-0, yeah, you're going to be feeling, I think, pretty darn good. Again, this is the Appalachian region. They specifically are in the B division. So looking like potentially one of the major contenders in that division will indeed be this University of Tennessee squad.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly the case. Like it's got to feel good for you as well, going in towards all those different teams, seeing that and knowing that you might have a chance at being able to take that first place spot because that then gives you even more confidence as we talk about going throughout this entire season, which will in turn fly by. I remember you saying that last year's shift where it's like this
Yeah.
thing is gonna fly by and we're gonna get the playoffs. So I mean it is very much going to come and cruise by here for us. So taking away each and every win is obviously going to be so incredibly helpful, putting yourself in the best possible position when we're talking about that way down the line. For as
Yeah.
far as what we got, UTK looking at least strong for a hard point and respawn is, more importantly to be strong in off the start of the game or rather off the start of the season compared to search and destroy because I feel like it's a lot easier to kind of fix a lot of those mistakes that are coming through in search and destroy. But if things are always coming together naturally for respawn, hard point, and control here for us, then yeah, you definitely have a lot of things swinging your way in your favor.
And just taking a look as far as what other squads are in this division, specifically here in the Appalachian region. Alabama White's team is in here. The Georgia Southern Blue team is here. Florida State Gold, Kennesaw Black, Louisiana Tech Red. I'm not 100% sure which of those colors relate to their first team versus their second team. But regardless, we know those, at least those surnames, right? Talking about Bama,
Sure.
talking about Georgia Southern, Florida State, Louisiana Tech, and Kennesaw boasts a pretty good esports program, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're decent. That's a pretty, again, stacked division through and through. So for Mississippi State Maroon, if you aren't able to take the search and destroy back, you find yourself down early. Not only does that give UTK a launching platform, but for Mississippi State Maroon, now they find themselves on the bad side of a narrative where they have to start surprising some squads just so they can make sure they get into that top cut and give themselves an ability to really, again, play for playoffs without having to necessarily go through the gauntlet of what will be those regional qualifiers at the end of the year.
That's a lot easier said than done, too, right? When we're talking about
Absolutely,
having that
yeah.
rough start, maybe not having a couple of initial series that are swinging your way, and then knowing you're going up against squads that are extremely stacked already. Yeah, that's not the spot that any squad wants to be in here. But I mean, that's also the kind of the state of the league that we have, where there is a lot of
Yeah.
great competition, right? It's like you have to come in and be prepared to be the best, and if you're not coming with that mindset, then you are just simply going to get swept under the rug, and you're going to be fighting from the disadvantage and towards the bottom bracket here with the 6 to 12 teams. So yeah, very very much want to come in here with everything you got. But it looks like we are getting ready to load in towards our second map to see if it is going to be a bounce back for Mississippi. They struggled in hardpoint, but maybe they got what it takes to bring things home for us heading in towards search and destroy. It's going to be Moscow that we are going to be jumping into. We keep talking about no scopes, no smokes here for us, Alan.
Yeah.
Things have changed. Macro play is a lot more difficult to pull off for as far as rotations, but we'll see exactly what they got in store for us because Mississippi, they're on offense first.
So you said no scopes initially, and I was like, we love no scopes though. Oh wait, no, there's no sniper rifles, so there isn't even the chance of no scopes. No scopes means that there's going to be no scopes. That's what I'm saying.
Oh god.
Goose aggressive angle 74U already. He's off the deep end right here. He'll find the first kill, takes control of bricks, and even beyond that, you've got Elstro who's actually sitting mid checkers right now, and this is going to be all down to timing for DT3. He hasn't seen this at all. And as they come out, Alstro's good for 1 and a second. Oh boy, that's tough.
That is. DT3 needs to get this straight, and he does. And his teammates likely under the assumption he cleared out the map, but he does snap for 2. Almost able to escape to maybe turn around and get the third. But yeah, they had assumed, I think, that he had completely cleared out that map there and that the mid map was really good to run through. You can see no one checking their corners here, and Grandma just not in a spot to be able to turn around. So Alstro with a massive play to make sure they maintain mid-map control.
But DT3 does find a couple of kills, so okay. Silver linings? Question marks? Maybe. But guess who gets? I mean, if you would have missed the first round, I would say, guess who gets a share of the first 4 kills? I think your first 2 candidates would have been Goose and Alstro, and you would have been right. But Goose is actually swapping things up. Again, he played with the AR largely through that entire hard point. Gets the 74U out for the initial defense. Now back to the Krig. JH good for the trade, so we will stay 3v3. And a long flank is starting to develop for Grandma, but it's going to be here in about 6 months.
Might be the case. And Slayin, meanwhile, he's able to grab himself a kill. And now it's a 1v1 situation. JH with a kill in the round will combine for the second. Coming through, clutching up, making sure they do not go down early here and tie things up at 1 apiece.
And again, initial trades are okay. It's just I feel like this isn't really necessarily a match that's been dictated so much by one team is just understanding the game better than the other, more than it is the individuals on one side seem to be collectively better than the individuals on the other. But I hesitate to even say that because, again, there have been some pretty solid moments here for Mississippi State, even throughout most of that early part of the hard point. And then there again, JH finds all 4 kills. So I don't know. It's just really weird to see rounds like that happen where you feel like Mississippi State's in a terrible position initially, but one player steps up, finds 4 kills. Now we're all of a sudden you're tied 1-1.
Mississippi last time pretty much dedicated all the resources over towards A, and then they tried to make that mid-map move this time around. Looking to see if they can try to get maybe over towards this B site. Elstro, though, might be in between them here again, but good shots. DT3 opens up with that first blood. However, that means that everyone here from UTK is going to start to make that rotation. No one positioned inside of the B-bomb building, meaning that they do have a chance for a free plan. That's exactly what JH is going to do.
Revised able to find one, so we stay 3v3, but the bomb does get planted. He's got to get out of top police. And this is interesting because largely, what do we talk about, Visions? And when it comes to a post plant, you want to try to hold this boulevard, and that's not the case for Mississippi State. They just put themselves right inside the apartment windows. DT3 can't even see the player who's defusing the bomb. Not that it would matter because Revise is able to find the kill. And that's just one of those things that, yeah, if you get the bomb planted, you need to make sure you're trying to control that top outside lane. Now, I get Revise finds a kill through the windows, but getting stuck in that apartment kind of bedroom is not where you want to be, especially if you have ARs.
No, it definitely is not. And I think that, when we were seeing this retake take place, it's just really, I think, a lack of that setup, like you talked about, not controlling the boulevard, first of all, and just going down, turning things into what was an even odds advantage then in a 3v3, where you just need to play a lot tighter, I feel like, inside, right? I mean, especially when we're talking about B. I mean, it is a very difficult site to retake. And if you don't maybe have enough subs positioned inside of the point, or rather inside of the site, then it's not going to be very easy maybe to lock those close range gunfights down, but just does not come together. So defense really all the way through. Now we'll see exactly what the plan will be heading over towards A. Stuns will come out. This is actually very aggressive. Maybe just a bait right through the middle of the map. We've seen this often, but DT3 does not fall for any of that. He finds a kill and gets himself out.
Yeah, getting out is so important for him. He's able to get some help now from JH from behind. The trade will be there, but again, at the end of the exchange, it's a 3-for-1 in favor of Mississippi State. Alstro makes it now from a 1v3 to a 1v1. He doesn't have the bomb to play with, but how do you play this? If your grandma, apparently they're going to show themselves, and Alstro nearly puts it to bed right here. But again, he'll get a second chance, and no way. A 1v3 for Alstro. Put a UTK up by 2.
I mean, I feel like this one's just gifted to him, right? Predicts the challenge. DT3 goes down. He's weak here, just about half health, and then finds the second one. No trade coming through again. Living with quite literally a sliver of HP there. Maybe single digits for sure, but just enough for those single challenges to come through. He's going to come out on top. So just a 1v3 that should not have went over, and it does. Now UTK Orange with great control. I mean, you have 2 players here as well, Alan, yet to find really any value. No kills coming through on the board. All DT3 and JH. 1 sub, 1 AR. So you definitely need these other 2 players to start picking things up a bit if we're going to start seeing rounds go over towards Mississippi.
And for Mississippi State, I mean, you're doing okay with the first bloods, but it's only coming out of DT3 and JH. We've seen no participation for Itachi as he falls for the 5th time. And Grandma in that last 1v1 looked panicked, to say the least.
Yeah.
So you've got to start building some confidence here, start hitting something together. It just kind of feels like right now, DT3 and JH are just trying to work this together and just play this as a duo. And, well, they're not even really doing all that too successfully. JH left the 1v2 situation, checks his immediate right with some pre-fire, but both volunteers had backed up over towards the escalators, and that is an easy cleanup for them.
I mean, you called it. They're really good at getting first bloods, and that's another moment where they get that first kill. Grandma then finds the second kill in the middle of the map, does get traded out, but that's a 3v2, right? And I think it's those moments as players where you need to slow things down and come back to, we said a lot of yesterday, was now decide to make a call on the map and have everyone follow through on that call. We're seeing just a little bit too much control go over towards some of these players here for Mississippi, and they're taking full advantage of that. As you can see, just about everyone having themselves a solid game here, and UTK Orange back on the offense, looking to see exactly where they're looking to line up their attack next. Looks to be in the middle of the map as there are 4 men hitting this.
Revise MP5. And how about this? It's a first blood for Mississippi State. thankfully off the gun of UTK. So as the exchange turns into 2 more kills for Mississippi State, it's Goose Fava on a 1v4. No way. It just can't happen. It can't happen. Visions. It can't
For every
happen.
kill, we're just gonna say it can't happen. That's what we're rolling with here.
No more commentary. It's just that's the only words we're gonna be saying from here on out. I can't do that. No, I can't.
I was waiting to see if you were gonna break the silence.
No, I can't.
It really can't happen though, right? Like you cannot afford to be 1v4 here, and he's about to run into both players. It can happen, Alan. It can't happen, but it might happen. Goose Fava, don't think he got info on that player, but info was on him. Challenges JH, doesn't bring home the kill. Trophy system, though, gets him pretty weak. 66 HP to his name. Decides to make that move. Goes for the challenge on towards 3. Gets the beat down. It can't happen, Alan. It can't happen, Alan. It will almost make it happen, but just barely. That kill comes through.
What in the world are we watching? I mean, this is just, to be fair, next level finesse for Goose. Especially the third kill in the pillars to slide forward to get the punch off. And then the Krieg swap nearly gives them the chance. Oh, no. Well, it didn't happen. So it's 2-4. And if you're Mississippi State, you cannot let that shake your confidence. You just got to okay, it didn't happen. Let's just get right back in this. Let's put together a good offense. You can't go down 5-2.
Cheeky angle underneath the bus stop here. Elstro looking for info. I think he gets a bit of info here as well. He's just waiting to take that shot. Lines up Graham, a beautiful peek, and just gets away with his life. An excellent discipline play here. Elstro now going to back all the way up. Continue to watch this street for that push here through the boulevard. Meanwhile, it has been a kill that has went back over. So 3v3 here on both sides.
And again, what's the next step here for Mississippi State? You're going to be challenged outside boulevard. You know that. And they're going to send JH to check. A little bit of a bait and swap there as Itachi will take over the angle, and it's going to be now the SMGs moving forward. Stun check, nothing there. Here comes the play. You got to plant. If you're, yeah, there you go. Awesome. So we're going to plant this for the outside angle against some nerd spots here from Slade. He tries to span the bomb through some windows. Not going to be able to get that connection, so the bomb gets planted successfully, and Itachi, who is responsible for the boulevard, falls.
Slaying comes in, finds the kill. Now has to work through the last one. GT3, he gets angle onto 1, tries to bring home the kill. It is not going to happen there for him. That's Goose Fava, finds the last one here for himself. And that is the defuse. UTK Orange carrying over their success from that hard point into the search and destroy as they are now on map point.
And it's just, I don't know. We could sit here and really talk the theory crafting of how do you approach the B side on attack. All roads lead through the boulevard, though, when it comes to success. Whether it's on the initial hit, that's yet to be determined. You know, you don't have to take boulevard to get the initial bomb plant, but you need to contest it at least. And for sure, make sure you've got it set up in your favor for the post plant. And when you've got Elstro shooting like he's shooting, it's difficult to do that. And especially when Itachi, one of your ARs, is 0-7 joining the agency. Grandma, a little slow to get out of the walker here at 1-7, and that's just another nice little finesse moment for Elstro. But another team nade comes through. Goose taking himself out of the picture. Elstro in a bit of trouble there with not a lot of ammunition. So Mississippi State able to stay alive here, but just marginally down 3-5.
Still down and just barely getting this final kill. Elstro just running out of ammunition. Might have been able to finesse, maybe play his life, but he was being swarmed and everyone was closing in on him slowly but surely. So a defense comes through, and defense hasn't necessarily always been the problem here for Mississippi. I think it's really just a lot of coordination so far on these offenses where they haven't exactly been able to kind of get full control of a site, and they haven't done it with aggression or confidence, I think is the big thing so far.
Really.
And that has to come through, and maybe it's going to be this round. Stun checks are out. Tachi looking for some kind of initial peak. They have now been able to at least move in towards the site as they're slowly looking for that information.
Look at the conditioning, though. Goose in his opening round hit so aggressively through bricks that Mississippi State are forward, but they're not pushing too far forward. And okay, I was going to say, if Itachi doesn't get this trade, we're in trouble if you're a Bulldog fan, but they're able to go 3v3. And Slayin, another kill, revives over the top, no problem. Just out to JH. Alstra able to slip away. I mean, that's an isolated kill that you really feel like you should have played for, but JH will back down. It's a 1v3, no bomb to play with. Timing here is going to be not great. Revise actually doesn't see him either, so might actually work out okay, as he can get over to this bomb, pick it up, and actually use this back 30 seconds to make a decision.
Does snap for one. Reads Elstro in that same corner. 20 seconds left as he needs to try and get this bomb down. Little does he know both players still actually behind him. One challenging up the Eskies. The timing not here for JH again. And the kill comes through in the 6th, so he will end up falling. UTK Orange, they take another map as they'll now lead 2-0. Big plays all around the board. The AR stepping up here again for us, Alan, and they are slowly taking over here for us in the series.
Yep. Well, not bad for UTK all the way through. Near fireworks. I mean, that's a 1v4 that we would have remembered probably for the rest of the year. Let's be completely honest with one another here, Austin. We would have been like looking at top challengers games that we're casting, been like, yeah, that's cool and all, but let me tell you about this 1v4 we saw in CCL. Doesn't quite come through. But as you take a look again, 250-105, the first map score. Moscow Search and Destroy 6-3. Coming up after this break, we'll be going to raid for the control at Mississippi State. A required win would be on the table for them here if they want to have hopes of not just extending the series, but potentially finding their first win here in the CCL. It's week 1, day 2. We're continuing on after this. Welcome back to everybody. We're jumping on in and just about ready to go for the raid control. And so far, it's been all Rocky Top. University of Tennessee Orange looking really, really solid so far. 250-105 and then a 6-3 between the raid hardpoint and the Moscow Search and Destroy. And for as hopeful as we were and during different moments during the raid hardpoint for Mississippi State Maroon, they're looking a little bit short to the task, at least for now, against this volunteer squad.
They have fell a little bit short here for us, Alan, and I mean, maybe you can chalk that up to Goose Fava just having one of the most insane series of his life, or just the simple fact that Mississippi don't have enough practice, and I think that showed a little bit in Search and Destroy with some of their coordination and some of their shot calling towards their offenses specifically. But you said it, we can look to reset. We're coming in towards raid control, a chance to see if they can bounce back, and to be fair, we look back on that hard point, things were pretty neck and neck going in towards that second rotation on raid hard point, so there is something in this squad that has to come together, I think, to be able to overcome. We'll see if that ends up coming together here for us in this matchup, because it has to, Alan. They has to if they're going to be able to stay alive and really start getting some maps here underneath their belt.
It is, again, just the first match here for these guys as they come in. Although I believe actually Mississippi State had already played a first match. I think Tennessee has as well. I think this is the second match they've played on the evening. But regardless of that, you know, you just don't want to fall too early. And that's a nice start. DT3 able to find a kill long range mid map will open up some space for JH to move forward. But the problem is over towards the A zone. It's all UTK Orange as they find their way to get their first stick of capture.
These openings truly have been very strong. Grandma not good with the challenge there. Slan playing his life. Will go for the upper challenge there again. Sets it up for Elstro. The teamwork here just so incredible, as that will be an immediate capture on the zone, and they have 2 minutes and 20 seconds to come through and work over towards B.
Elstro already in the back, slides through, finds DT3, who had not been tagged up. He was looking for the red dot chase, but isn't going to be able to get there. So now it's down to Slayin. He's going to get the regen off, gets flashed for just long enough. That's a nice little challenge coming through. Grandma, almost an opportunity for Revise. The trade, not fully there. And Revise has actually slipped his way through over to the locker room here near basketball, and that's going to lead an opportunity for the rest of UTK Orange to try to make their way forward. Goose picking up the pinch will make sure that that pathway stays safe.
Goose Fava tries to press forward there. JH has been able to play his life inside of money now, finds himself on 3 in a row. This is great work here from one of the sub players. Chance for 4, gets the help. Will find Slayin. One more down low. Revide's able to finally shut down that streak, and JH now out of the picture as he comes off his respawn. But Grandma is cutting off this entire rotation, at least from the pool side. Will they check this corner? It's going to be a very important corner to check, and Will Elstro will deliver. He brings home the kill, and now another chance to press forward.
Elstro first one forward. First tick of progress should be good. JH window dealt with. Last contestants for the Bulldogs have to come from basketball. They're being watched, but Itachi is able to get himself one and get right back on to deplete the initial progress onto the second point. But lives are a little bit of a concern here. Just a 2-life lead for UTK. Minute 15, though, is enough time to really make that win condition come into play for either squad still.
Will win out of the battle off screen there, and this is the timing. Itachi coming in, finds one. Certainly had the opportunity to grab Goose Fava, but he will get help from Elstro, who's able to clean up every single member trying to play defense. The second tick is secured. Third tick on the way. Gustavo waiting to line them up. Checks his 6 for a second, but doesn't even matter. No one can get there to contest in time. The stack is good. UTK Orange, they convert on their first offense.
Yeah, big problem here for the Bulldogs is the fact that you do well contesting from on the zone, but one of the things we largely say a lot about control in this game is as soon as you get a favorable set of kills, you have to take the map over. And you can even see right here, like DT3 is still holding over by cutout, JH is still playing in kitchen, and you've got 2 other members that are still in basketball. So granted, that was a more positive moment for the Volunteers, but the Bulldogs, you just have to commit to, okay, that's a 3-for-1 trade. Let's push forward and try to zone this map away, because right now they're just allowing UTK to just continually hit for free.
And I really do think the subs have been struggling a bit here for the side of Mississippi Maroon. And that is, a massive factor. We're talking about playing the objective, offense, defense, doesn't matter what side. Grandma just 2-7, will throw himself right on top of the point though. That's a nice jump shot, Elstro. Oh my, man. It feels like every time we're off BOV, he's able to grab multiple kills here for himself. JH, though, does respond with a couple of kills in a row as well, but won't be able to escape and get out up top. Art Gustavo there for the kill. Grandma trying to move in, and they will be able to clear out a bit of the defense over by the point. Maybe a chance to be able to get that first tick in.
DT3 is trying to find a way to maybe catch a couple of players rotating over to Laundry, but he falls just as fast as he tried to make the angle work. Alstro down low. Goodness, is he going to be good for a couple? Maybe. Oh my goodness, Itachi nearly got had bad right there, but he will help secure the second tick of progress. UTK doesn't want to give this up as of yet. Slayin will slide forward. Tachi's trying to find a way to get this kill into play. Again, you cannot contest this from the top side of Spiral, so you got to come down at some point in time, and just as they do, UTK find 3 kills and clear that the third tick of progress away.
Look at the read. Gustavo, he knows that they might be looking to try and attack the second zone over here. Lines up that first one. Might have an idea one is also close. Just trying to check through the water right now. DT3 going swimming as Grandma comes right in from behind. Gustavo dealt with and still need to try and work for some kind of progress. Almost got there. Grandma waits for that challenge, but wrong time to throw out the Semtex, and Itachi will be able to respond here, but lives are getting low, as you mentioned, Alan, just coming down to 7, and still no zone has been captured.
But look at the map control here. Mississippi State Maroon can really make something happen through the middle of the map. Looks like UTK is just going to give up the last tick of progress at A in favor of defensively stacking B. They've got the lives to make that count, so you're going to have just about a minute and a half here to play with if you're MSU Maroon, but you've got to find a way to start getting this life balance into play, because you're not going to be able to do this with a minute 20 and only 4 respawns remaining. And the kills are just not coming through. I mean, Mississippi State, you're trying to play for spawns. You're getting some progress to getting back there, but you're not finding the kills, and that's a costly decision because you go from what? It was like 12-7 now to 11-1, so not a great exchange.
Now no respawns remaining, and this has just been an absolute tear. This defense, I mean, it's just the perfect discipline of knowing when to give up a zone and play for the second one, and Gustavo was the first one to make that play over. This is looking like it should just be done and dusted. Last couple of kills, Grandma will fall. And yeah, this is just a crazy, I mean, look at the scoreline. Like, I mean, really, it's actually just 2 players that have been taking over. Receives here, I mean, 18-9, 20-7 for Elstro.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, it's been a crazy game between the two. As DT3, he is being pinched, he's being collapsed on, they're swarming in and around, they're playing with them, maybe looking for an execute, it seems like right now, as they're not going to risk it, and they will bring home the kill.
Look, I've been really impressed with Elstro. I mean, easy to say this one sample size of a series, but it's just the fact that he's not just running this main AR to great success, but he's doing a lot of action on the control zones as well. I mean, his objective play has been great. I mean, you go back to that raid hardpoint, he was top fragging with like a minute 30 of hardpoint time as well, which was the top of his team. So, definitely someone to keep an eye on, as he's got a 3.0 KD right now at 21-7. And in a 2-0 count right now, Mississippi State, tough position to be in without question. And you kind of see right there as well, 3,400 damage. Revi's just behind him. And they're just doing so much individual work. It's hard to find any other way that this match will go.
JH has been the silver lining for the squad, but just has not really been enough. Slan tagged up, but just playing their lives, able to survive. And while this might just be an early drop off of the zone, maybe giving it one last good hit, DT3 will try to mount that attack as he throws himself on the point. Make sure the third tick is not secured just yet. Up close will be good. So they are able to at least move back in, but Goose Fava, he's going to be able to play his life on the white van, waiting for his teammates to come and assist him on their next attempt.
And there they are. They come out and just team shot from driveway. And who is it? None other than Alstro that finds the elimination. Revise also locking into the middle of the map, able to find himself his 20th kill. And it will be University of Tennessee Orange finding themselves the tick of progress that is required to extend this clock to 2 minutes worth of time. Even life count for right now, but there's a lot of work that has to be done here for Mississippi State. And I will say this much, Grandma over towards bedroom. This is what I want to see more of. Get the Bulldogs into position to where they can zone out this map as touch, make life a little bit difficult for the Vols to try to find a way to recover and get over towards this B site. But now Goose and Alstro working from the back. They've opened up a lot of space, and with that, they found a hefty amount of kills.
It's a really special moment. Everyone just waited for that push to come through the middle of the map, and then they finally made that hit in towards the back, and everything came through. DT3, though, he does manage to actually push all the way up, finds 2 out of the 3 players, so cuts off the push, and still no progress really made on towards B with about a minute 15 left. Guzfaba, he presses forward, almost combines for 2 in a row, as Grandma trying to play some defense in and around Tiki. We'll have a bit of help, but we'll have to make that challenge happen. Brings home 1, but can't find the second.
The cutout been dealt with by JH, but immediately responded to. Again, 9-8 current tally as far as kills are concerned. Back and forth we go. Alstro pre-firing, takes down Grandma from the pinch. Tachi up top, can't get any shots to land on the Slay, and JH will eventually make good on it, but these trades are starting to become a bit more costly for Mississippi State. DT3. As if to say, if there's a will, there could be a way, as he is single-handedly trying to will this team back into it, but not going to get there. Itachi trying to keep his way forward, and no respawns remaining. Itachi's got to go big, and he will not be able to. Third tick of progress confirmed, and UTK Orange find themselves a 3-0 here. Not just in the control, but also in the series to get the dub.
UTK is looking really good. There was a moment that I called out there right in that last round, and there was 2 players pushing in the back of Laundry after capturing that zone over by Circle. And once they waited for their teammates to get enough mid-map control and break in towards Kitchen, the rest of the members from Mississippi then assumed the push was actually coming through the middle of the map and through the pool side. So they stopped watching it. And that timing was really unfortunate for JH, but worked out perfectly for the 2 players in the back that were able to then coordinate, clear out the entirety of Kitchen and Money, work themselves on towards the point, clear up pool side, and then start getting that closer spawn by the pool house to be able to add in those reinforcements. So it just excellently done coming through, able to really show exactly what kind of game knowledge this squad has, what kind of patience and teamwork that they're working with, and well, seems to be a very, very good amount based off that series.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from this University of Tennessee squad, mostly because, again, a lot of the players that we kind of came to know over the last 2 years no longer a part of this roster. Really, just Goose is the only player of really kind of high praise that we said last year to retain his position, either due to graduation or, whatever it happens to be. But regardless, for UTK Orange, I mean, they've got 3 very competent players behind them, and clearly a cut above where Mississippi State Maroon is right now. But if you look at the total division, I think they're definitely throwing around some weights that they very well could be the favorites in it, Austin.
It's looking that way. I mean, it's like, as much as it's really hard to get a full sample size because we haven't seen them all play against the teams, you can see when a team is on the same page, and being on the same page is just so much more important than what you're going to be able to bring, mechanically to the team, right? Because there's always going to be outstanding mechanical players from the AR and sub position that we're going to have on a bunch of teams throughout this league, but it's really about getting on the same page and just having that trust and building that teamwork. I mean, if you can just kind of start with that foundation and build off of that going through the entire season, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? So it is very impressive, I think, with what we saw.
Well, we got to get things set up here. Next up in the final stream here that we're part of a match on stream that we're going to have is Concord Maroon going up against Penn State. If this was a matchup last year, everybody would have stopped what they're doing to check in. Will that be the case, though, this year? We've heard rumors and whispers that Penn State might not be bringing the sauce this time around. Not maybe their game, but the really strong test in front of them. This Concord Maroon team, we saw them during the kickoff tournament. They were looking absolutely nasty, winning that one pretty cleanly through. But can they start their regular season off with success? A true test lays in front of them with Penn State, and we'll be joining the coverage right after this break.